here tonight. History has been made. Chuck Licata has been defeated by Crazy Joe Pardini in the OTA Fantasy League. Wow, never saw that coming. My teams, of course, suck. I'm 0-2 in both the leagues I'm in. The Detroit Lions are undefeated. Well, kinda, sort of undefeated. We'll get into that. Antonio Brown getting let go by the New England Patriots. Pittsburgh 0-3. Really, they lost to San Francisco, who is 3-0. Crazy stuff going on in the NFL. We'll talk about that. Then we'll go to the college ranks and my Michigan Wolverines. I don't know what's going on, but I don't like it. Jim, you gotta right the ship, buddy. If you can't beat Ohio State, you're out. You're out after that performance. You're done. Doesn't matter what happens to Rutgers or any other team this season. You don't beat Ohio State, you're done. Chat with us on the YouTube channel. Send us your comments. You can either chat with us also on Facebook or tweet me at MikeAllen_OTA, hashtag Radio Man Cave. If you're an OTA insider, you'll be able to give us a call. Hang on, folks. Gonna have a great show. I'm Mike Allen. This is the Radio Man Cave. The whole crew is here. Mad Mike, Danger Davis, player to be named later, Crazy Joe Pardini, West Coast Dan, Coach K, Chuck Licata. We're going to have a great time. Welcome. You're on the air. The views and opinions on the Air with Mike Allen show do not reflect the views and opinions of any other content on Fort Kick-Ass Productions. The following has mature content. Have fun. Thanks to our producer, Danger Davis, who's production tonight. Doing a hell of a job with that production. All right, welcome to the show. Leland Freeman is here. Danger Davis is in the house. Player to be named later. And Mad Mike, who's finishing up his Panera Bread chili bowl.
And I like the way you grab the microphone like an old
just
school.
grab it down.
Old school ring announcer, which is coming down from the rafters.
You're
large
goddamn
hairy
right.
man's nutsack.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. First off, we're going to talk about my adventure on Wednesday, not my adventure on Thursday, which I might get into a little bit later, but that sucks. But my adventure on Wednesday with the On the Air with Mike Allen, Sky Marshal, Leland Freeman. Then we're going to get into our football picks, discuss the Antonio Freeman getting let go.
Antonio Brown.
Antonio, who cares? One of the Antonios got let go by the Patriots after being there for all of 1 week. 1 week.
Yeah, apparently he rubbed Robert Kraft the wrong way.
Well, you know...
No, he was there for a Make-A-Wish. He wanted to catch a tongue pass.
And we know what happens when Robert Kraft gets rubbed the wrong way, don't we?
Yeah, shit happens.
You catch a sex trafficking charge.
This is super loud.
Is it super loud? Which one is yours? Let's see. Testing. There you go, right there. Is that good? A little bit lower? All right.
Yeah, a little bit.
You got it? You get over there? All right. Plus, we'll get into Michigan football, why Jim Harbaugh is on the bubble. Big time, because that was horrible on Saturday. That was horrible. Absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, go figure the good team in Michigan is the Lions this year so far.
Yeah. And they're undefeated, kind of.
Sort of. Hey, they didn't lose.
Sort of. They haven't lost. They haven't won every game, but they haven't lost. And we're getting feedback. Why are we getting feedback?
I know.
Unplug your headset. Is it unplugged? Not yours, his. With the microphone attached to it.
No, my mic's off.
Is it unplugged? Unplugged?
It's unplugged.
God. Our producer has been working very hard all day to clean up our audio.
What does it sound like when we're
Oh my God.
pulled up on the... That's...
Well, that seemed to have...
Well, yeah, I turned down my gain a little bit. But we still got that. Anyway, who cares? We're going to keep going. We're live. Last week we had to go do the whole show audio only. That is going to bug me.
Yours has
Patty.
on
Yeah, yours has a mic on it right there.
Yeah, well, mine wasn't giving feedback, was it?
Unplug yours.
No.
Testing. Yeah, that's not it.
Not that.
Oh, God
Yeah,
damn.
here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go with this again.
Come on, product up.
And apparently we're the only show that has these type of issues. Or maybe
It's fine.
no, it's got that little ring to it. No,
I think it's just the top.
I think it might be just in here. But broadcasting, it's okay.
Yeah, broadcasting sounds just.
All right. Well, let us know in the comments if you're hearing a little ring. That just might be me. It just might be me. All right.
It does sound a little stadium-y, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, but
It sounded like that with,
People pay for that.
actually, talking
Yeah,
to
they
your
do,
talking to your
actually.
mic.
check 1 2 testing.
No, not your.
Sunday.
Yeah. See, they don't. It's just my mic. What the hell?
Come on, Mike. Mike with a mic.
Got the reverb turned. Oh, mine's doing it too.
show at the Tacoma Dome.
I got everything turned off.
Yeah.
This is my favorite segment of the show.
Yeah, just figuring shit out. I mean, because we get everything figured out, and then we don't get everything figured out.
The production value.
The production value of the show is top notch.
Tippy top.
All right, so Wednesday, my friend here, Leland, and the other show said, "Let's go flying. I need some ballast for my plane. I need to have somebody sitting next to me while I fly. If you buy lunch, we'll fly to Fredericksburg." And I'm okay. Let's do this. So I show up at the airport. Now when I say this plane is small, I walked out on the airport, and this airplane was not a big airplane at all.
No. But they make smaller ones.
Well, that's good. I'm glad we didn't get in that one because you and I were squeezed in that thing. But anyway, so we get in the plane, we go through the run-ups and everything, and we take off, and it was cool. I mean, I hadn't been in a plane that small in years, and it was really cool. And my man's a pilot, dude. I mean, he got in that thing and checklist, and I mean, just he's a totally different person than sitting next to us here in the man cave. So anyway, we start doing these maneuvers. Now, what was the first maneuver we did with the?
I believe it was a Chandelle was the first maneuver that we did. There's a series of 5 maneuvers I need to learn in order to take what is known as a check ride for a single-engine commercial rating. I already have my multi-engine commercial, so this will be considered an add-on. And there's 5 different maneuvers. There's Chandelles, there's Lazy 8s, which actually looks more like an S curve where you're changing altitude. Then there's 8s on pylons, which looks like a figure 8. There's a steep spiral where you're basically doing 3 turns over a specific geographic point while you're descending. And then the one that you want
So the first one we did,
the Chandelles.
the Chandelles, you're putting it into like a high banking stall. Was that the one where
It's a practice of an evasive maneuver where you're basically turning and climbing at the same time. So you have to put it in a 30-degree bank and about a 10 to 20-degree pitch up. So you're basically turning 180 degrees and climbing. So that's what you're supposed to
in a
simulate.
very small airplane.
Which
So,
only
so he's putting it on the wingtip.
well, it's not in the wingtip, but yeah.
Okay, let me tell the story, all right?
Okay.
Well, he's putting it on the wingtip, right? Like we're getting followed by Japanese Zeros, and he's got to shake them. And he goes, and this is what he says. It was perfect. He gets it in, and he's doing the things, and he's trimming, and he's doing this. So he goes, "You're going to hear an alarm. Don't worry about that."
It's true.
So we're 3,500 feet in the air in a crate, and he's like, "Yeah, don't worry about the alarm."
It's the stall warning. But don't
Stop warning.
And I explained to him there's three
the part where we lose aerodynamics. Pay that no mind.
There's 3 stages to stall characteristics. There is the warning, then you have a buffet, and then the plane has what's known the brake and just kind of
Nose is over.
Nose is over, and that's what's supposed to. And with this maneuver, you're supposed to put it to where it's just touching the stall horn, but not where it's buffeting. That shows you're in the.
Which I have no idea what that means, but it sounds technical and.
Basically, long story short, the maximum performance available in the maneuver is what you're supposed to do.
All right, so we do that, and then he put the plane on it where you had the fixed point and it did the circle. Which
8s on pylons.
It's on pylons. So he puts it in a bank, and he says, "I got to keep the wing on the house down there." So
The bank of rivets on the spar, to be specific.
So we do that. So everything's cool. And I'm thinking, man, this guy can fly. He's, I'm starting to feel a little more at ease, having a little bit more fun. We get it on course. We get to Fredericksburg. And then we do what's called a
power off 180.
Now I am going to tell you my impression of a power off 180. So he comes in. He says we get into the pattern to land, and we're flying to land. And he says, okay. He's kind of talking me through it. This is what I caught. I'm going to cut the engine power. After that, everything went blank in my head. I'm like, you're going to fucking what? So I'm like,
That's warranted.
912. That's yeah. You're cutting the engine on a plane that I could fit in the back of my. If you compress this plane into a ball, it'd be as big as a softball. That's how small this plane was. Anyway, so we get in it, and he comes down and he cuts the power. He turns it down and it's basically almost puts the engine in an idle.
Pretty much.
And then starts heading towards the airfield. Well, we're gliding at this point. And so we got crosswinds, we got upwinds, we got downwinds, we got goose farts. Everything's pushing this plane around. He's reaching down between the seat, trimming it, pulling the flaps. And the whole time, we're headed towards the whole ground filled the windshield. And I'm thinking, this is how I die. We're gonna munch it here at Fredericksburg. I'm gonna be rolled up like the Big Bopper, right at the beginning of my career, and be famous for the rest of my life as the guy who died in a plane crash. So I had that going for me. So we're doing all this. We're sliding in, and then right at the last minute, it just straightens out. And he greases it. And I'm talking about you couldn't even feel the tires touch the ground. It's like, nice. we're down? And I look over at him. He's got that look of calm on his face. I was like, yeah, well, that's that. And I'm like, what do you mean that's that? I had sucked the seat up into my asshole coming down into that thing.
That's basically what.
How'd you guys get the landing gear down?
It's a fixed gear.
Fixed gear.
The joke is down and welded with those type of airplanes, and that's pretty much the maneuver.
So you pucker up, I sucked the landing gear. We almost belly flopped on that thing. And then the airport at Fredericksburg is amazing. They have a big hotel there that's all set in like the 30s.
40s, yeah.
30s and 40s motif with all the pictures and the propellers and the stuff. And then they have an old cafe there that's set up like a cafe, and it was really good food. And then we flew back, and it was pretty uneventful on the way back.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty uneventful.
We had 6 planes ahead of us at Georgetown. And so, getting back to the Power Off 180, that's one of the things you have to learn for they get a commercial single-engine license. And it's exactly what you had to do, is you had to cut the power.
Sideways. We're coming in sideways, nose down. I'm like, it's on my side, too. I'm like, he's planning this.
And it's called a slip.
Sound like a big airbag.
And the reason why you do that is that you cut the power, you get the plane to the best glide speed, which is your VY, so that is 73 knots. So you put the first notch of flaps in. And then the reason why we had to come in steep is that it's better to have too much energy than not enough, because not enough, you end up like the Big Bopper. By the way, a friend of mine does own a 1956 Bonanza V-tail. So basically what we ended up doing is that it turned towards the runway, and I ended up having to slip the airplane, so it kind of is coming in like this, where you put in opposite controls to basically bleed off as much energy. And then right before, about 50 feet before the touchdown,
you just let it go.
No, you don't let it go. It gets into something called ground effect, which actually increases the lift, and that's where you basically kind of coast for about 100 or 150 feet, and then just have this nice soft landing.
Nice.
But yeah, it basically simulates if you're in the pattern and you lose your engine, that's what you have to do.
So I'm going to go ahead and say this. Anybody on the air cast, if Leland needs somebody to go roll with, go. Because that was a great experience. And it was a lot of fun to get in a plane that small. And this is a small airplane. It's a
Piper Archer.
Well, it's small.
Yeah,
okay?
It is small. And it's not even as small as they get. Don's other airplanes, it says the 152, which I don't even think.
Oh, there it goes. I turned off the sound for that, so I got to switch back and forth.
Sound
okay.
Oh, his microphone.
I mean the sound for the graphics and stuff. West Coast Dan, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Did you hear my story about the flight I had with Leland? We might fly up and see you.
I saw pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, I'm giving these guys shit for not getting video content, and guess what I didn't get?
They forgot to get video.
Video content.
Oh, look at you.
I know. I got a
guys-
little bit, but
Did you guys even conduct any like international
we didn't.
relations?
we
Nothing?
did. No, we did.
Wow.
We did not flip out anybody off. But I tell you what, coming back to Georgetown, we just did a
Stop
normal
doing that.
landing, and there was a plane in front of us that was.
It was a Tomahawk.
It was a Tomahawk aerobatic plane.
No, it wasn't an aerobatic plane. It's a beginner trainer, which is much slower. So the situation.
Oh, I
we
thought,
had,
what was that plane we saw? I thought that was the plane, the
that was a-
racing plane or whatever we saw when we. That wasn't. The
no,
Tomahawk.
that was at Fredericksburg. That was a Bonanza that we.
No, when we got back to Georgetown, we had that single seat fighter plane looking thing
maybe
with the big rotary engine,
the
racing plane. That wasn't what was in front of us?
no, that was
okay.
there was actually 2 Tomahawks and 4 other airplanes that were ahead of us, which means basically they vectored us over downtown Georgetown, and then I had to slow the plane up considerably because even though we're not exactly a fast airplane, they're slower than us. So
Yeah, it was a slow plane.
Yeah.
So he's like doing the whole flap thing. I think he did it just to mess with me.
no, I had
To
to
be honest with
I had to
you,
put
because
three-
he's like, it's like we're standing still in air. He's got all the flaps out. He's like, oh, let me trim it a little bit. But here's what I want to. I mean, we know Leland. And we love Leland. We come in. He definitely got the biggest brain in this room, and very excitable. Totally different guy in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, he's born to fly.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not, in the beginning, I got to be honest with you, Leland. I was nervous. I was like, I'm doing this, but I'm not really sure. But you were awesome.
Well,
You got it, man.
Well, the thing also is I did a very detailed briefing beforehand, including giving you basic emergency procedures in case something did happen to me.
Yeah. Oh, and he let me fly.
Oh, nice.
I flew the plane. Yeah. Not like a video game. I was like, well, where's the keyboard? Where's the mouse? No.
Just put the joystick, right?
No, actually, I did okay. I mean, I flew straight.
He flew
so,
straight. We
you
were just cruising back to Georgetown at that point.
We weren't doing anything like,
And actually,
barrel rolls or anything.
No. And the interesting thing is that when we arrived to Fredericksburg before we did the power off 180, there were 2 airplanes that were ahead of us. So I had so we couldn't find them, and we weren't getting any traffic information. So basically, I did a couple 360s just to say, okay, we're doing a 360, just let them get ahead of us. And then I had to do another one of them, and then they were kind of weekend flyers, so their communication on the radio wasn't as good.
Wasn't great.
So we let them go ahead of us before because obviously you didn't want to have them behind us and not know what a power off 180 is.
Yeah.
Because they're not commercial pilots.
They're going to be like, oh my God, the plane's going to crash.
Nice.
But it was cool. I mean, it was really neat. We got, how high did we get? Like 4,000 is the highest we got. So we were cruising right around
4,500, I guess.
Yeah, we were cruising right around 3,000. I mean, you could see everything on the ground, and it was just really neat.
And
It was beautiful flying up into the hill
and when
country,
we
saw Lake Travis.
And when we first flew out of Georgetown, I was checking the weather constantly if we had the file IFR or not. We didn't, but we had to fly out about 2,000 to stay below the cloud layer. But there was a very defined line where the cloud layer was, and just right when it ended, we were able to climb up. And so he was able to.
So that was fun. Good job, Leland. That was amazing.
Nice. Nice.
So I highly recommend it. If he needs, you got a whole room full of ballast here.
Nice.
Highly recommend it. All right. Michigan football. We're going to cover this real quick before Chuck calls in, and we might cover it again. I don't know what's going on.
Mackenzie's
Jim-
listening to us again. So
Jim, hi Mackenzie. Jim came to Michigan, got paid $50 million. $50 million. First year out of the gate, he had 10 wins. He had 2 9-win seasons. Last year, he had a 10-win season. But here's the thing.
was he the one that won or lost the Super Bowl between the two Harbaugh
He
brothers?
lost the Super Bowl with San Francisco. So, what? What was that? Yeah. And you know what? They do. They are not a good football team. And I watched the game against Wisconsin on Saturday, and I left. I got in the car, and I couldn't watch the rest of it. It was bad. I mean, it's not like they were playing a really good Wisconsin team and sticking it in there, you know?
Yeah.
Wisconsin could have scored more. That's how bad they were.
They went easy on him.
They went. Well, I don't know if they went easy on him, but
It's just were they?
I mean, it was bad football. It was just bad football.
Were they as bad as Texas was under Charlie Strong a few years ago?
Yes.
That's bad.
And
That's a dumpster
Harbaugh
fire.
was supposed to be the savior. He was supposed to take this team to national championships and Big Ten championships. He's got neither of them. He hasn't beaten Ohio State. This is he's 2-2 against all the other power schools like Michigan State, Wisconsin, Notre Dame. He loses again. I mean, we're paying him $50 million. Damn. Where's that magic from San Diego State and Stafford? And,
Over how many years?
huh?
Over how many years?
Well, I don't know, but he's in his 5th year. I mean, this is the year. He should be going undefeated. And right now he's 2-1 with, barely beating Army, which just by demographics, Army's never going to be a power team because
Do you have my mic on?
Yeah, I have your mic
Okay.
on.
Well, Chuck's watched on the show, and
It's because your mouth is like 5 feet away from it.
somebody took my boom mic. Chuck was just like, "Hey, Patty, turn your mic on."
Yeah, dork.
You can call
Talk
me a
into
dork
the
all
mic.
you want, Chuck, but I didn't lose to Joe Pardini.
Oh, snap!
Yeah, I'm surprised Michigan's even ranked. They're number 20 in the top 25.
I don't even. They shouldn't even be in the top 25.
They
in my
dropped
opinion.
9.
They shouldn't even be in the top 25. I mean, they're that bad, and I'm a fan. I can't even sit here and polish that pig up and brush its teeth. They're bad.
Hold on, were you the I'm a lion around?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Stomped your ass.
I know.
So top 25 is Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Auburn, Wisconsin, Florida, Notre Dame, Texas, Penn State, Oregon, Iowa, Cal, Boise State, Washington, Virginia, Utah, Michigan. at
Yeah,
20.
Michigan shouldn't even be in the top 25.
Southern USC is number 21, UCF, Texas A&M, Kansas State, and Michigan State 3-1 rounds up the top 25.
Yeah, they shouldn't even be there. Yeah, when you're typing on there with no buffer between your microphone, it comes out over the air.
yeah, but
So put something between your
adds
microphone.
To the,
Yeah,
feng shui
there's
of the.
teams that received votes that are not in the
135 to 88.
I keep.
25. Wake Forest 4-0, not in the top 25. SMU 4-0, not in the top 25. Memphis 3-0, not in the top 25. Minnesota did not get.
He's the Purduker.
Is not in the top 25. It's 3-0.
Or turn your mic off when you're not talking, then just turn it on when you talk. You could do that too.
How is Texas A&M in the top 25?
Hey,
2-2.
whoa. Don't talk crap about the Aggies.
2-2.
Everybody else is trash, and I hate them. Tell them I hate them. Especially Auburn.
Especially Auburn.
Especially Auburn. Screw them super hard, especially right now.
But yeah, Michigan's horrible. And I tell you right now, if no matter what happens the rest of the season, if Jim loses to Ohio State again, he's gone.
And this is ridiculous.
He's
Notre
gone.
Dame 2-1. They are number 10. They only dropped 3 of their loss this week.
So wait, Mark. So what you're saying is that let's say they lose to.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
If they somehow go on and win the whole thing, you still think they'd get rid of him?
No. If he wins out, he'll still be there. But what I'm saying is, no matter what happens the rest of the season, they will lose against Michigan State. They're going to lose against Notre Dame, especially playing the way they are now. There's no way they're going to win those games. So they're going to lose against Notre Dame. Michigan State's probably going to beat them. You got a really strong Northwestern team that's probably going to beat them. You've got.
This is all just an elaborate ruse.
It might be. I don't know what the plan would be, but.
It's called a ruse.
But anyway. So he's probably gonna enter the OSU game with 5 losses.
Wow.
Womp womp womp.
But if he loses against Ohio State, he's out. Absolutely out.
That'd be
There's
6
no way.
losses.
There's no. Well, he lost against. He'll be 0-5. You can't be 0-5 against OSU. You cannot do that and be a Michigan coach. You just can't. I mean, even Brady Hoke beat Ohio State once.
Mac Brown beat Ohio State.
Mac Brown beat Ohio State. I don't care.
Mackenzie Kelly says we need to talk crap about the Aggies.
No. Go away, you.
Go away, you Aggie fan.
I think Mac Brown
Who's
beat
scared? Who's
I think-
scared?
I think Mac Brown beat Ohio State twice.
No, he didn't. He lost the first time.
No, it was 2-1. It was Vince beat him at Ohio State. Then the following year they lost, and then there was a bowl game, which I think they did beat Ohio State. So I think
Okay, but that's Texas, and we're not talking about Texas because
Right.
if Texas beating Ohio State doesn't mean anything, and if Texas loses to Ohio State, it doesn't mean anything. Michigan losing to Ohio State means something, and we've been doing it for far too freaking long. And a lot of U of M fans like myself are a little tired of it. To be quite honest with you. And we hired Jim to beat him.
You know who beat
And he's
Ohio
0-4.
State? Baker
Shut up.
Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield, who brought Cleveland back against the Rams, and the Cleveland, if they can clean up their penalties, they win that game. In my opinion.
Well, that was also just their. I mean, they what? They throw the ball on 2nd and goal. What are they trying to do? Pull a Seattle in the Super Bowl here? Like that was just garbage town.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Run the ball.
They did,
Yeah, I know. but
Yeah.
and got stopped twice.
Yeah.
Run the ball all the time. Don't throw the ball.
Constantly run the ball. And then throw the ball.
And then run some more,
And then cradle them.
and then put them to sleep.
Yes, and then become part of the scrum.
Well, and just like Seattle, if they make it, they're heroes. So
Yeah.
we can all say you should have done this because it didn't work, but if it works, you're heroes.
Well, they also had.
I mean, it worked with Joe Montana through
They also
to
had
Clark, didn't it?
penalties and stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they clean up their penalties,
Yes.
if they clean up their penalties and get a little more discipline,
That's what I just did. I cleaned up my penalty.
your penalty cleaned it up,
Yeah, it was out in the shop.
got underneath the shaft. And
AFC North: Ravens 2-1, Browns 1-2, Bengals and Steelers 0-3.
what do you think? What do you think, West Coast?
He did.
He set his phone down and walked off.
Yeah,
He's getting some Consuela time.
Oh my lord. Awful.
Wow.
Chuck Licata.
I believe the Bengals.
No.
Bengals.
What?
Now
Now he comes back.
Yeah, now he comes back. We asked
did
him a
you just
question
say?
5 minutes ago, and then when Chuck answers the phone,
He was like, yeah, I like listening to Oingo Boingo. That's one of my favorite bands.
this is one of my favorite
That's
bands.
pretty much what I heard him say.
Yeah,
What
pretty
did I
much.
miss?
Not much.
Who answered what question?
Michigan's trash. That's what you missed.
Garbage town.
Oh well, we know that.
Yeah, duh. And we're old
Yeah,
enough.
they're not
Hey,
a
by the
good
way,
they're not a good team.
As long as we're talking about Jim Harbaugh, let's talk about Mike Tomlin. He needs to go. Goodbye. Adios. I don't even want him to coach the rest of the season. They look pathetic. I understand they have injuries, but the Steelers look pathetic. It's time to get rid of the cancer in the clubhouse, and that is Mike Tomlin. Bye. Go. Please.
Who is the bigger dumpster fire, Pittsburgh or Miami?
Oh, Miami.
Oh, my.
I don't know. They're going to be fighting for last place. Hey, hold on a minute, guys. Hey, West Coast.
Yes?
You were quiet the whole time, and now you're making a bunch of racket with your phone.
What's Casquela doing?
I put out the mute button.
Well, mute it.
Just one moment. We had someone who wants to say hi. Say hi. Hi.
Consuela!
Consuela.
Hey, Consuela.
Let's see.
Hola, Consuela.
Hola.
Actually, right now, the Redskins are getting their face kicked up at the Bears.
Hola.
Oh, that's fine. The stadium's half empty now.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah, can you
She
translate
was
that for
rapping
us,
some-
Mad Mike?
She was rapping some Espanola.
She says she's going to send down some chili for chocolate.
No hable, no cable.
She's going to send some chili to Chuck Licata?
Yes, it's been confirmed.
Been confirmed.
Oh,
Confirmed. Chuck Licata's getting chili from Consuela.
Yes.
All right. Well, mute your phone so it's not making so much racket as you walk with it and bang it against your leg.
Talking about Mike's, I think Mike Leach needs to do better with Wazoo.
I think he does,
They
too.
lost one game, and I'm furious about it.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Leach should be still at Tech, wrecking shop.
Yeah, no, I'm glad he's made Wazoo wreck shop because that was they sucked really hard.
Yeah, they were bad. They were not a good team.
Yeah.
But anyway, Chuck, Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh, 0-3.
Yeah.
Poop.
Goodbye.
You want him out?
Steelers are trash anyway.
He took you to 2 Super Bowls and won one of them. I mean, what's up?
Yeah, but think about it, Mike. You know Jim Harbaugh's 0-4 against Ohio State.
Yeah, huh?
Mike Tomlin, his last 5 against New England, he's 0-5.
Yeah, well, so is the rest of the league. So that's not a good
It
measuring
doesn't
stick.
matter. It doesn't matter, Mike.
Oh, he doesn't have
He
Big
needs
Ben
to
either.
go. He needs to go. He's not inspiring the team. The team has too much talent. They have too much talent for them to be 0-3 this year.
So what happens if this
Period.
guy then gets picked up and pulls a Gary Kubiak and wins the Super Bowl the first year of his new team?
Who?
Tomlin.
Because that's what was happening
He's
with...
not going to the Super Bowl.
What I meant is pull a Gary Kubiak who got fired from the Texans, and his first season with the Broncos, they won the Super Bowl.
Well, he also had
Oh, okay. Well, go for it.
Peyton Manning,
Go
but
for
Well,
I think Chuck's just like,
mean,
I
it's,
don't care.
yeah, but listen, guys, what we're and Chuck makes a point, and there's sometimes the chemistry just isn't right, and when you win a Super Bowl, it's more than talent, it's more than coaching talent, it's more than all that stuff. You've had coaches that have have no real they have no real success with a team. They move to another team. They take them to a Super Bowl. You have coaches that have great success. You have great success with, say, San Diego State, and then they move on to Stanford and have great success, and then they take a team in the NFL to the Super Bowl. Then they go back to their alma mater and freaking suck. Sorry.
And speaking of
but I'm just saying. It happens. It happens.
And speaking of chemistry...
Yeah, Taylor is good sometimes for a coach.
And speaking of chemistry, we
know,
all
but
thought...
Mike Tomlin was a defensive coordinator, brought good defense to Pittsburgh, but they haven't played good defense the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So, like Mike says, it's a chemistry thing at this point. It's a scenario thing.
And
he's not doing well. He's lost the guy. I mean, granted, AB is, totally out there, but he's lost the clubhouse.
Well, I can't disagree with you.
And speaking of chemistry, we all thought that Dallas was just going to be a slow motion train wreck full of dumpster fires and have zero chemistry. And look at the way they're playing now. I mean, granted, it's September, which the Cowboys always seem to win in September, and then screw up in the last couple months of the season. But
they've played the 3 shittiest. They played
but at least
the Giants when they had Eli. And then, I mean, like, even Miami, though, I kind of feel like Miami at, like, halftime was like, oh, shit, we might actually win this game. We're down 6-10. We're supposed to be tanking here. We need to play, worse. So.
And then they became Miami in the second half.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So what do you...
We'll find out when they lose to New Orleans this weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dallas is going to lose to New Orleans.
Because we beat
Texans almost beat New Orleans with Drew Brees. So
almost beat them.
It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning. Thank you, Vin Diesel.
Well, let's talk about the On-the-Air League, where for the first time ever in the history of the league...
We got to do the intro for it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead, man.
go.
Hit that
Have
intro.
an intro?
We have an intro.
Do
it. Are we back? Yeah, that's what's giving feedback is that channel. So we got to figure that out later. We're live. We're on the air. We're not messing with anything. All right, Chuck Licata. Chuck Licata has been part of the OTA Fantasy Football League for 2 years. He's the champion from last year, undefeated, and like UCF, rolled into this season looking like he was going to take on all comers and mow them over with his finesse, his good looks, and the fact that he probably fixed something in his cheating, like deflated a pen or something. I don't know. But last week, crazy effing Joe Pardini, who is not only on the spectrum, but I do believe he has lost his mind if you have not seen one of his last videos on the on the page.
This was his first win season
First one of the
against
season
Chuck.
against an undefeated team. So basically, Miami rolled into New England and won.
And stomped him.
Well, you know what? I blame it on myself. I told Patty, I said, you know what? I had to shoot my mouth off and say, man, I'm undefeated. I've never lost. Sure enough, Mike, you know, media jinx, man.
Yeah,
Come
media
back and
jinx.
kick you in the butt.
Yeah.
That's it.
I hung with Davis pretty tight, but I'm 0-3 now. He came back and won 135 to 84.4. The Wilco Wombats took on our friend Okie 164 to 95, defeated them. Iceman falls to Team Pardini 100 to 92. Close game.
And
Close
I mean,
game.
his players scored like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of his players scored double digits, but Tennessee kind of did you in there with 1 point. Your kicker from Houston, 2 points. Your bench,
that hurt.
Your bench, yeah. I mean, I won
hurt.
my game against Adams. And the person that scored my most amount of points was on my bench. Evans from Tampa Bay, 45 points.
Oh, I know.
Didn't even have him in, but I stuck through and got the win. So
And Daryl
Yeah.
Dorks Ross defeated Team West Coast Dan 147 to 83. That was an ass whooping of epic proportions. And then, are you kidding me now?
are you?
Are you kidding me now? Meow.
It's are you kidding me?
Shut up.
Meow. It's not that difficult.
Buy a dog.
I have
Are you
a dog.
kidding me? Meow defeats Team Adams, who is 1-1, 136 to 95. So the only teams that are still without a win are me, West Coast Dan, and that's it.
I bet West Coast Dan, who when I was talking to Daryl because he was playing him, I was like, I hope you're enjoying your bye week right now. Sorry, Dan, but I bet West Coast Dan gets a win before you do, Mike.
He probably will, because none of the I had Edelman. That's a good pick, right?
I have Edelman.
That's still crazy. Crazy Joe, if all of his kickers won this week.
Edelman. I have Edelman.
Amendola.
Yeah.
Amendola. I'm sorry. I have Amendola, and Amendola's a producer, man.
Gorgonzola.
Yeah. Trash.
Cheese.
Let's see. What did he do? I mean, Kenny Golladay. I mean, I've got good picks here. Kenny Golladay.
Who has Gardner Minshew? The jockstrap warrior.
I don't know.
Did anyone pick?
Here's my lineup. I had Kyler. Here's my lineup. I mean, here's my lineup. I had Kyler Murray. I had James White, who right before the game was deemed ineligible, so I lost him.
Goose egg.
Jordan Howard, a Philadelphia running back who gets lots of carries, didn't get any carries during that game. Kenny Golladay, who's like one of the prime targets, he didn't get any passes thrown to him. Sammy Watkins out of Kansas City, you'd think he'd be a great. He didn't get thrown to. Ebron in Indiana, he didn't get thrown to. I'm like, what the fuck? Twice. Sorry.
Right.
And Marvin Jones, my flex receiver, had the most points at 22 from Detroit. And then I had the Rams defense, which put up 10, which is pretty good, and Matt Prater. That's not a bad lineup, Chuck. What the hell?
Who picked Zeke in the league?
Heather.
Week 3
Heather
of the
had
NFL.
Zeke only
What will
had.
happen?
I don't know. I'm having a conversation here, and Patty's over there talking. I have
He
no
was
idea.
asking yeah, Zeke only got like 15 points because he got 125 yards, but he didn't get a touchdown. All right, back to you in the studio,
Yeah.
Mike.
And
All
by
right,
the way,
well-
Week 11, the matchup, Team Brown against I'm a Lion.
I'm lying around.
That's it.
So week 11 is
That's
D-Day,
it.
right?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yep, that's it.
All right,
was
last
all
week, our picks, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 6. I went 9 and 6. Danger Davis went 9 and 6. Oh, wait a minute. I got this wrong. The Rams won that. My bad.
So what am I at?
I went 7 and 7. Danger went 7-7. Mad Mike. 1. Oh, you did bad. 2, 3, 4. You 6, 7. You'll go 7 and 6, 8. You'll go 7 and 8.
Wait,
if the Bears hold on to their 28-9 lead in the fourth with 14 seconds left. Chuck, you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 and 7. And West Coast, I didn't get your complete deal. And then Leland's the big winner, I think. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, nope, 9 and 7. So we all went pretty much 9 and 7. With the
Did I pull up any upset?
With the Bears winning. You did not.
Actually, not bad at this. 'cause
Actually,
I
yeah,
can't-
you did. Yes, you did. The Colts over the Falcons. Everybody picked the Falcons, and you picked the Colts.
Aha!
Uh-huh.
Sheer genius.
So you...
Actually, not bad at this.
Like
Because I came in second place
Coyote.
to Mad Mike last week, too.
Didn't we give Dan shit last week
We
for
pretty much.
for picking them?
Yeah,
well, there
we
you
gave
go,
him
Dan.
shit.
It
Yeah, I
paid
just
off for
shit
you.
Always
on,
comes
man.
back. All right, next week, Thursday night, Philadelphia versus Green Bay. Danger.
Green Bay.
It's in Green Bay.
Yeah, going Green Bay.
You know what? I'm going to go with the Eagles on this one. You going with the Packers? Mad Mike?
Packers.
Packers.
Yeah.
Crazy Joe? Not here. Chuck?
You're looking at Lambeau Field.
Lambeau Field. And Leland. Oh, West Coast. I'm sorry.
It's always sunny in Philadelphia.
Eagles. And Leland.
Packers, because it's Lambeau.
All right.
Stop drawing on me.
What about Consuela? Where's she?
What is she? Yeah. Don't get him with Consuela.
No.
Sunday, Tennessee, early games, Tennessee and Atlanta. I think the Falcons are going to bounce back on this one. Danger.
I see you over Davis's shoulder. What were my other picks? Let's see. We're gonna go with. Oh shit! I didn't make that one. You know what? We'll take Atlanta.
Mad Mike.
What? Wait.
He always picks the bird.
Tennessee and Atlanta. I always go with the bird, right?
Except for the Packers versus the Eagles. That's
Chuck.
cheese wins.
That would be Atlanta.
Yeah. Squaw!
West Coast.
I'll go with Atlanta.
And Leland.
Atlanta.
All righty. New England Buffalo.
That's a difficult one.
So Patriots.
Are you taking the Patriots?
I'm not going to tell you who I'm picking until all you guys pick.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna take a leaf out of Dan's book here, and I'm gonna take the Bills. It's probably gonna bite me in the ass, but I'm gonna take the
Mad
Bills.
Mike.
Bills Mafia.
Chuck.
Bill Mafia.
I'm telling you, this is the game. This is the game New England loses. West Coast.
Yes.
Let's say New England.
He's the one that picked the favorite team. Go figure.
Yeah.
Patriots.
You want the Patriots?
I want the Patriots.
The Patriots.
All right. Kansas City versus Detroit in the Motor City.
Well, wait. What was your? Are you taking?
I'm taking the Bills.
You're taking the
I
Bills.
think this is the. I think this
Okay.
is the week the Patriots lose.
I'm gonna have to stick with Kansas City, man. I thought Baltimore was gonna come back and beat them last week. They had those two crazy throws by Jackson, but they kind of shot themselves in the foot with those 2-point conversions. So
Mad Mike.
Wait. What? Who are we talking about?
Am I gonna have to separate you two?
Kansas City or Detroit?
Oh, yeah, Kansas City.
At least we're not Detroit.
We're not Detroit!
See what you're missing in here, Chuck? when you don't come into the
Yeah,
man cave.
Chuck.
Right? It goes nuts.
Chuck.
Just for you, Mike. Give me Detroit.
These are the games Detroit wins.
What should be the one?
Or tied.
West Coast.
I'll take Detroit.
And Leland.
I think Detroit, so I could say, well, we didn't lose this season so far.
He's got a point.
Oakland at Indianapolis.
Indeed.
Go Raiders.
Indeed. Raiders are a dumpster fire.
Are they? Didn't they just win there? Go.
No,
They
they
lost last week.
Yeah, but they didn't lose bad. Chuck?
Wow. Yeah, give me Indy.
And West Coast?
I'll take the Raiders.
The Raiders. And Leland.
I think the Raiders.
By the way, has anybody noticed that the Redskins are actually making a comeback here?
Yeah.
Yeah, they picked off the Bears at the goal line, 2nd and 3.
Yep. 28-15.
Typical Bears.
Los Angeles at Miami. I'm just going to go ahead and put the Rams for everybody.
Watch, this
That's
is the game
Chargers.
that Miami
Yeah,
decides to step up at.
Is that the Chargers?
It's the Chargers. It's
That's
the
the
other.
Chargers.
LA
It doesn't
team.
matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
No, you might want to ask Dan real quick because you know how he likes to be way out in left field. Randy.
I'm almost predicting a tie, yes.
The Hutto Hippos can probably beat the Dolphins this year. That's
Randy says anybody picking Detroit over KC is freaking nuts. So.
Chiefs are historically
Sunday.
overrated. It's like the
West Coast?
It's like the Texas football team.
I'm going to predict an overtime win. Yes, an overtime game, but Miami will lose. They'll take them to overtime.
Leland.
the Chargers, because Miami's
Yeah,
going to win.
Miami's
Miami's
horrible.
going to win by default. Miami's going to lose by default.
Miami's horrible. Washington versus the New York Giants. Two of the worst teams in the NFC East.
Did you not see the Giants game
Is it
last
at the
night?
Is it at the Giants or
It's at the Meadowlands.
Yeah, it's in it's a home game for New York. I'm gonna go with New York because they had a great game last week. 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. I think
I'm gonna hang my hat with the Redskins because they're putting a show against a very good NFC North team right now, and I think the Bears are much better than the Giants.
Well, you enjoy that Trail of Tears then next week.
is that
Oh my
And then
God,
there's-
Patty!
And then there's a player to be named Larry in the background, just like, no.
Oh, Patty!
That's a giant faux pas right there.
Oh my
Sorry. But hey, at least I didn't drop an F-bomb.
Oh well. I mean,
Oh fuck!
That's 3.
It's my show. I can do that.
Well, I produced your show. I should get at least 1.
No, you produce my
produce.
show.
So
You're
it'd
the
be a
producer.
fook.
Now
So
you have
I'd
to.
I'd say fook.
Now you have to keep that like that now because you are now the official producer.
Well, fook you then, my friend.
As
Fook
a
you.
producer for Fort Kick-Ass Productions, I feel that it is probably in the best interest of Fort Kick-Ass Productions that you refrain from making statements or comments like that
Ever again.
as a representative of the
As
production.
a representative of the company,
'Cause
I
it-
apologize.
Because you might find yourself in a last stand. Alone.
Sorry.
With wool blankets that smell funny. Just warning you, Patty.
All right. Who's next? Who's next?
Mad Mike's next.
Player, I'm on your side, man.
no, you're getting.
I think it was totally out of line to bring up that reference.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's
Moving on.
Mad
Mike.
Your choice.
Skins or Giants?
Oh yeah, the giant foreskins.
Chuck.
Giants.
It's falling apart here, Chuck. Need to come in for some stability.
Giants.
And we're not even in the second hour yet.
West Coast. Yeah, we're not even to gun stuff
Giants.
yet. I'm always the Giants. And Leland.
Eli's last stand for the Giants.
Eli's no longer the starting quarterback.
Really? What did I miss?
Yep.
Dude, you
A bad
missed a
football-
great game.
Cleveland
was
versus
amazing.
Baltimore. God, where's my favorite blue pen? It's around here somewhere.
Davis has it. He's
Davis-
been drawn all over me with it. Did you not see?
Davis, you killed my pen.
I'm making it better.
By getting my
Cleveland
DNA
versus
all over
Baltimore.
it? Baltimore.
Yeah, I'll take the Flaming River over the get stabbed city.
Chuck.
Yeah, see how that's not a
Baltimore.
slur? Patty.
Wait, that's not the Squaws.
West Coast.
Oh, yeah, well, no, shit. Baltimore's stupid.
I'll take Cleveland.
Cleveland.
They're not Detroit.
Cleveland rocks.
Baltimore's a winning record currently, correct?
Yeah,
Leland.
they're 2-1.
You're gonna go with Baltimore. I'm sorry. Sorry, Baker Mayfield, but you're 1-2 versus 2-1 at Baltimore.
Baker Mayfield will make
Yeah,
you
it's
pay.
at Baltimore.
Baker Mayfield will make you pay. Carolina versus Houston.
I'm gonna go. Do we wait, Chuck? Do we know if Cam Newton still isn't playing? I mean, I can't see why they'd put him in anyway because his backup totally
They won't
killed
put him
it.
in.
I'm gonna go with Carolina then, please and thank you.
Carolina's a better team without Cam.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's a big distraction now, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean,
Mad
the only
Mike?
thing they can't beat him in is his attire.
Into the mic.
Jock strap. Jock strap.
So the
I don't-
Texans.
I don't get it. I think you're thinking of
Chuck.
the other team there, bud.
Houston.
West Coast.
Houston, please.
It's at Houston.
Yeah, it's in Houston.
I think Houston will win.
Houston's a good team.
Yeah, they almost beat the Saints.
Houston's a good team. Tampa Bay at the Los Angeles Rams. I got the Rams on this one.
I have now made your pen shorter.
Just make sure you clean all that shit up so I don't
yeah,
step
I'm gonna
on
have to
it.
go with the Rams too, because
So,
Winston's
here's
just
what's-
absolute
Mad Mike?
crap.
Here's what's fun. If you look, they look like tiny little blue
Rams.
nail clippings. Okay, we talking about sports still?
Yeah.
Oh.
Rams,
Or
Bucks.
the Ram, what?
He's trying to think of a whimsical joke for both.
Rams.
Let's get a
Chuck.
Rams.
Yeah.
Rams.
I don't want to go in Ram Bucks.
Rams.
West Coast.
Let's see Tampa Bay.
Be a Buck Ram.
Redskins confirmed
Rams.
4th and 1.
What are we missing?
Yeah, we're watching on Roku. Yeah, I ditched DirecTV. We'll talk about that. Leland? Leland?
Yeah,
What do you got?
I said Rams.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. I missed that. Seattle versus Arizona.
The Birds.
Yeah, bird versus bird.
Seattle coming off of a terrible loss to New Orleans.
And it's in Arizona.
I'm gonna have to take the Sea Chickens on this one, please and thank you. And we all know who Mad Mike's gonna take.
Squaw. Chuck?
Arizona.
I picked the Cardinals too, man. I think this is going to be a. I think they're close. They're close.
Yeah, they might get another tie.
West Coast.
Arizona because they have too many weapons.
Yes, they do.
And Leland.
I'm going with the Seahawks.
Seahawks. Seahags.
They're a much better team anyway.
All right. Minnesota at Chicago. up there in the north, where we're gonna go get some beers and go down and check out the Vikings and the Bears.
Bears.
Well, they're playing in Chicago.
The
But I mean,
Bears.
That's north of us. But I'm gonna take Minnesota.
Really, the Vikings?
Hey, they didn't look half bad, and I think Trubisky's gonna. I mean, don't get me wrong, their defense is great,
Oh,
but I
wow.
think Trubisky's gonna just fook it up for him.
So,
Wow.
so no, I'm looking at the yardage right now. Second half total yards from the Redskins 213. Bears only had 63.
Wow, look at that.
And the Bears have
They need
Yeah,
six
the
more
Bears
yards.
are.
and
I
that
don't know
would
what
be a
their
really
defense is
good
doing.
number.
Mad Mike,
I already
Bears
said-
Vikings.
I already said Bears.
Bears.
Yeah.
Da Bears.
Where you been, man?
I don't know, Chuck.
Me and Patty, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Well, that's just ridiculous.
Minnesota. Patty.
West Coast.
I always like Viking women, so I'll take the Vikings.
Salamis.
And Leland.
Duh, Bears. Hopefully.
For the longest,
The West Coast. why
There's
do you
still
think
8.5 minutes in this game. They might.
I know. They're making a game of it if they can score. If they can score, they'll put.
There'll be a one-possession game.
Yeah, there'll be a one-possession game. Jacksonville at Denver.
We're gonna go with Minshew and his amazing mustache to get the job done.
yeah, that's
You know,
So
I
is that
heard-
Broncos?
No, that would be.
No, that's
Oh,
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
yeah, Jacksonville. Yeah,
Come
some
on,
other-
man.
Some other
Mad Mike?
cat team. Yeah, Jacksonville. With
Jags.
Gardner Minshew's.
Meow.
Yeah, that guy was like he plays for one of the cat teams, and there's two. of them.
Chuck?
Give me Denver.
That was.
Wow.
Actually, there's more than just two cat teams.
Oh well, what's the other one?
Well, the Lions,
The Bengals.
the Bengals,
Panthers.
Panthers,
Yeah, that was one of the two cat teams.
West Coast.
I've got to go with Jacksonville because Gardner Minshew is my fantasy quarterback.
Ah, Leland.
I'm going with
Oh,
the
yeah,
I'm going with the
Jackson-
pregame
Jackson,
analysts
good for
because
you.
they're both going to lose. No, I'm guessing the Jaguars.
So is it the Jags, the Lions,
Jaguars, Lions, Bengals,
Panthers and-
Panthers.
Panthers?
And that's it. No.
What are Bills? Is that?
It's
They're-
Buffalo.
Those
No, I
are
meant
the-
our Bills.
Well, I don't know. The Buffalo Bill after the Buffalo Bill Cowboy.
Actually, they named after Buffalo, New York, and
Yeah, well, it's Buffalo Bill, but Buffalo Bill Cody is
No,
what the
you know
team
how
is
they
named
get
Well,
after.
their logo is. Their
No,
logo is
how
a
did they get the name?
buffalo.
okay. So all their rent was behind, right? So then the whole team as a whole just decided to go and sell drugs and get those dollar bills, y'all. So then they became the Buffalo Bills. That's how that worked. It's a true story. I seen it out on the streets. Hence the name Bills Mafia.
That sounds reasonable to me.
Makes sense.
More like plausible, but probably not realistic.
Reasonable.
Hey, prove to us that it didn't happen.
Reasonable.
Do that.
plausible. Oh, is that how it works now?
Yeah.
That's how it always worked.
That's how it works if you're Ben Shapiro.
All right, the late game: Dallas versus New Orleans.
Who dat? Who dat? Who dat? New Orleans, baby.
Yeah, let's take the third world state over Dallas.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Saints too. Who do you got, Chuck?
Crabs.
Saints are going to win by at least 10 points.
Yeah, this is the first real test of the Cowboys, isn't it? West Coast.
Exactly.
I'll pick Dallas.
You suck.
Hey, how would you
I'm
guys-
also going to pick Dallas.
We should start a intramural dodgeball team and call it the Sky Valley Salamis.
Monday night, Cincinnati Bengals at Pittsburgh. Battle of the trash teams. Who will come out not the worst team in the NFL?
Pringles.
I'm gonna have to say Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's my choice.
I'm gonna go with the Pringles.
Who are the Pringles?
Yeah, that's what I said. The cat team.
Mad Mike?
Cat team.
Cat team? Oh, that's what I'm going for,
Yeah,
the Bengals.
The Pringles.
Chuck? Okay, never mind, Chuck.
Thank you.
West Coast.
Sad you had to think about that.
Steelers, please.
And Leland.
I think the real winner is going to be WWE because no one's going to be watching this game.
Except us.
Exactly. And I'll be second screening WWE.
Flip a coin.
Flip a coin.
Flip a coin. You got a coin?
Oh, boy.
Who's got a coin?
I don't have a coin.
I got a coin right here.
I think the Bengals because
All right,
the Steelers
hold on. We're going to flip for it. Let's see here. New Mexico is the Bengals.
Okay.
And George Washington is the Steelers. You ready?
Yep.
Let me see. You're not allowed to commentate.
No.
No. Yeah, that's not how
It's
that
my
works.
show.
No. Not that. No.
Looks like it's the Steelers.
Nerd.
It's like Mad Mike's going to win that one.
All righty. So that's in, locked in. Chuck, you got anything you want to talk about?
No, I'm just enjoying listening. You guys are on a roll.
We are kind of on a roll. Everything's, well, I'm not going to say anything because we still got at least 30 minutes.
Yeah, don't jinx us over here.
But so far, our producer's doing a great job.
He just ate a roll.
Produkin.
He's producing the hell out of this show.
Duking the fook out of it, man.
Do you have anything lined up to take a short break or no?
Yes, I'm thirsty.
No, I don't.
You don't.
But what I could do is just pull down your camera and they can just look at the background. And maybe you can put some music on over it.
Not a be right back or nothing? You got nothing?
No, I was too busy trying to get everything fixed.
You're too busy trying to fix the problem with the mic that was on your actual headphone.
Yeah. Well, next
Yeah, okay,
show,
Chuck. We got feedback, right? So we have feedback. So he's going through software. He's downloading this. He's downloading that. He's trying to get that squared away. And the whole time it was the mic on his actual headphone.
Headset. It was the mic on my headset.
That was causing all the drama.
Yeah. It was
Come on,
garbage.
Pat. You're better than that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, well, we fixed it. So, Mike, next week, get me the intro thing, like, halfway through the week. I'll knock it out, and then maybe I can get some commercials put together on Monday.
Well, okay.
Just a thought.
All right. You go ahead and predict those commercials.
I'm stuck with that now.
Yeah, you
I'm
are
the
the producer. As a matter of fact, we're going to put that all on our merch. Speaking of merch, one of our cast members has merch, and I want one of those shirts, Crazy Joe.
Well, how do you like the video, Mike?
The video was disturbing and erotic at the same time, but the shirt, I want the shirt, Joe.
Yeah, I got to figure out how much it's going to cost me to ship them all out.
Is it available in a crop top?
Yes.
No.
Can I get a thong?
Well, I had them made for myself.
No, it's a Crazy effing Joe shirt. It's a what is it? CFGP.
It says I know I'm crazy. It says I know I'm crazy.
Yeah, on the front.
CFJP out.
Yeah, on the back. That's what's going to go on your mug too when we get the merch together for this.
There's a method to his madness. He won the fantasy this week.
Can I get a thong with Joe's face on the front?
We could do that. I mean, when we put our merch together, I'm already talking with Mind's Eye Printing, who my photographer is working with, unless somebody else has another vendor we can contact. But Mind's Eye, great guy. He's gonna get us. This is what I'm negotiating for. T-shirts for all the cast members. So we need to find a brand that we want to put on a shirt. The Fort Kick-Ass logo is definitely going on T-shirts. So we'll be able to get T-shirts for that. I'm gonna have a shirt for me and a mug with my mug on it. So if you guys have any ideas, put it together. We'll get it down there. What we're going to do is starting the next year, we're going to have an actual shop on the website, the Radio Man Cave website, so you'll be able to get merch and help support the show.
I get a really good idea. Imagine it looks like a camo pattern, but when you look into it, it's like a picture of mine and Alex's face just muted into different colors.
We could do that.
Cool.
I think that'd be really neat.
Call it something cam. I don't know. We're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on it. Yeah,
we're gonna work on it.
It'd be really cool.
But anything like that, guys. Joe's already got us beat because he's got a pretty cool T-shirt. How many of those T-shirts do you have, Joe? Did you buy enough to
send me one?
Yeah, well, I just started. The one guy, I'll be honest. One guy wanted me to sell it to him for. I was gonna make him a hoodie, and I told him $30 because I got to make $5 off it.
Well, yeah. Obviously, make sure that you charge enough that you'll make a profit. I mean, that's what we're going to do here. I mean, if the manufacturing of the shirt...
Mackenzie wants to know if there are shirts for women. She wants
There will be shirts. There will be shirts for women. There'll be tank tops.
I will make sure I try them all on because I have a very small feminine physique. So if they fit me, they'll fit anybody.
Yeah, all women's shirts will be previously worn after a long day working in the hot sun.
Yes.
By Mad Mike.
I mean, that could be a fetish. We could probably make a lot of money with that.
We could use his bathwater, too.
Oh, God.
So, yes, Mackenzie, we will have female product or female apparel with the show stuff.
Mad Mike.
Well, Mike.
Dude, let's do it. Let's do it.
If you really, if you pay extra...
I say we do it, man.
Include some
Hey, Mike, you know how much I cost for my hoodie?
How much did it cost for the hoodie, Joe?
$25.
Authentic Mad Mike saliva whenever he passes out.
Oh, yeah, no, you could just ring, one of my, pillows. The other night, I passed out hard at this wedding when we got back. And, I woke up and there was, a puddle of drool and my face was stuck to the pillow and I was like, you probably, ring that sumbitch out and just,
So, what it's going to say to your death certificate is drowned in your pillow.
No.
No, what's going to say on his death certificate is basically the...
Who are you, the cops?
The crater. We'll be able to see that crater for many, many millennia.
Mackenzie says, gross, hard pass, very hard pass. I think she just wants a normal tank top.
Just a normal tank. Well, you can get the normal tank top. They just cost twice as much.
Yeah.
They don't.
Thanks, Mackenzie.
I'm sure there's somebody out there, Davis, that would just love to wear a T-shirt
to wallow around in your
wallowed
sweat.
Around in for a week
it doesn't
straight.
have to include my sweat. I mean,
it could be sweat free.
Yeah, it can be sweat free. I don't have to be sweaty. I could be not sweaty, which is.
So we have a different category: slightly sweaty, very sweaty, passed out sweaty.
Yeah. I could be
But
cold.
when are you not sweaty? That's
right now. I'm not sweaty.
Oh.
Yeah.
Grab me one too.
I mean, I could have worn it while being not sweaty and just gross. I ate a whole bunch and I farted and I don't know. There's different options and varieties. I suggest. For
and then for our fan Mackenzie, she can have the unsweaty
I will sign
version,
it.
But you can sign it.
Yeah.
The autographed
with a can of spray paint.
Mackenzie says Japanese vending machines probably, or where you'll get those Davis T-shirts from.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I'll make a little stencil that says Davis, and underneath it it's gonna say straight out of Huntland. Squawk, squawk. Limited edition.
Limited edition.
The limited edition ones are the ones that he wears around for a week.
No.
We'll only have two.
Oh my God.
The super double ultra secret limited edition that they're so cool. I don't even have them yet.
That's how cool they are.
That's how limited.
But yeah, so think of that stuff. We're going to start that in the next year for all the fans that want to buy merchandise and support the show. Plus, we also have a Patreon, which we'll be getting up and running to become an OTA Insider. And one of the benefits of being an OTA Insider that I've already decided is that you will have access to actually call in the show.
Can we sell toilet
and
paper?
And you cannot be an OTA insider if you don't. I mean, you can't call the show unless you're an OTA insider. Plus, we'll have a bunch of other stuff and perks and stuff if you want to help support the show through that. So that's all coming up, because we might as well make a little money doing this, entertaining you every Monday night.
And sell the official toilet paper.
And sell the official toilet paper.
of On the Air with Mike Allen.
Rough as hell, don't take shit off no one.
Pull Master Race.
And for an extra $5, you'll get pre-used by Man Mike.
Whoa, no.
No. No. Hard pass. No.
Look at player. He's just like
He's completely stoic.
No.
He's like, I can't deal with this.
See, the reason being is I just want to unroll the whole thing of toilet paper, right? And then sign
That's the company.
each individual like square and then roll it back.
And speaking of shit paper, this brings up a topic from a couple months ago on the show.
The Detroit Lions.
Not the Detroit Lions. That's
who are undefeated right now.
Who have not lost.
Who have a better record than the Sea Chickens.
Oh, good for you.
The Area 51 raid, was it 2.1 million people signed up and only 100 people showed up?
150 people went. They had like 1,500 people from like around the state that showed up, and I think they had 2 people that were detained. I think one person tried to go under one of the barriers or whatever, and somebody else peed on it, and so they were detained.
So no brodozers.
So and here's some of the footage coming out of this is pretty funny, because the Air Force guards that were out there, just kind of walked out there and was hanging with the guys that showed up. It's like, and we're laughing with them. It's like, yeah, you're not coming in.
Did you see what they posted on Twitter? What they said that if anybody actually tried to run across, they had a picture of the B-2, the stealth bomber, and stuff, and they're like, this is what you'll meet if you try to run across. And then they took it down because they were like, we shouldn't have said that.
They wouldn't even have had to use that.
No.
They would have just had a couple of guys in a pickup truck and drive over there and say, all right, guys, you done running?
Well,
you
we
tired
just want
now?
to see those
Get in.
aliens.
So, yeah. Good Lord.
Weren't we supposed to do
so we're supposed to do some gun stuff. Do gun stuff.
Oh, the gun stuff.
Throw that thing up there. Throw that graphic up there.
All
Can
right.
I go get something to drink? I'm like thirsty.
All right. Here we go.
Don't start with that, man.
All right, every week here on the show, we are going to counter the propaganda that is out there right now in the anti-gun crowd and the pro-gun crowd, who I think are pretty much have drawn the line and have taken out reason and logic.
Mm-hmm.
I am pro-Second Amendment. I own firearms.
Oh no, it's just my headset.
The guns are not the problem. Now, I made this point on a video that I made in another app, but only guns are demonized when they're used. Only guns. And somebody said, well, you'd feel different if your family member was shot. Well, no, I wouldn't. I'd still blame the guy that shot him. I wouldn't blame the gun. I wouldn't blame his access to the gun. I wouldn't even care about where he got it from, because that person's individual action is what took the life of my family member, not the gun. Because if my family member gets stabbed, am I going to go out and want to get rid of everybody's knives? If my family member got choked out by a rope, am I going to go to Home Depot and start a protest about, hey, everybody, we got to get rid of ropes? So, because if he didn't have a rope, he wouldn't have killed my family member. That's stupid logic.
Okay, what about banning belts because of autoerotic asphyxiation?
There you go. That's another thing. What if I lose one of my family members to autoerotic asphyxiation?
Or we ban cars because someone last week decided to do the best impersonation we have in the Blues Brothers.
And then I got to start paying money so the mortician will keep quiet about having to take him out of the garter belts and all the crap he was wearing and the high heel shoes.
Mackenzie said this is her favorite part of the show, the gun stuff.
The gun stuff.
Yeah! Mackenzie, you're awesome now. I retract my first.
And he will send you a clean T-shirt without his body sweat.
Yes. I will actually wash it.
So this was actually posted, and I want to talk about this because I'd like to get your impressions. The post, and I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit, but he says, the guy that I was going back and forth with says, let's see if you can understand. And of course, all liberals who are anti-gun are extremely condescending. And all pro-gun people are extremely angry, it seems. And really, but anyway, this is what he wrote. He said, let's say my wife and I like gin, and we drink gin, and we store gin at our house. But my daughter goes and gets a hold of that gin and gets drunk, and she's a minor. Wouldn't it be logical that to solve that problem, I would just remove the gin from my house? Now, my daughter may still get gin. And he even writes this. He says, my daughter may still get gin, but I would have made it more difficult for her to get gin. And that was his argument for banning firearms. Or,
I mean, does he not remember
so,
banning alcohol?
your thoughts.
We'll let Davis go first.
I already did.
Oh.
Well, it's not about the alcohol. It's about the situation.
My thing on that is that, I mean, well, what if? So he's saying if I get rid of the gin and I can no longer have the gin, so that way she
Talking to the mic.
So she won't
There
go
you
and do
go.
something stupid like drinking gin.
No, listen.
All right,
Maybe
paraphrase it for me again. Sorry.
He's relating this to gun control.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. Him and his wife own gin.
Mm-hmm.
They like to drink gin fizzies. His daughter gets a hold of the gin and gets drunk, and she's a minor. So his solution, you just kicked their camera. His solution is to get rid of the gin to make it harder for her to get to it. Even though she might go get it somewhere else, at least they won't get it in their house. And that's his argument for not owning guns, because if he doesn't own a gun, it makes it harder for people to get a hold of a gun.
Yeah,
Kind of see where we're coming from now?
I get
okay, now
so
I'll give you my answer after I hear your input.
it's still stupid because now, I mean, if he likes to drink gin, now he can't drink gin because it's all been removed. But she's still going to go out and obtain gin by
Somewhere
having
else.
somebody that's old enough to buy it and still get drunk. So
She's gonna steal
his
it.
daughter's out partying and drinking gin and stuff like that, and he's sitting at home with no gin because that's what he thought was a good idea. I think that's...
Go ahead and
not
grab it and
smart.
actually point it at your mouth when you
Is
talk to
this
it. There you
better?
go.
It was. I liked
Yes,
it when I
there
had
you
it.
go.
Boom.
All right.
But yeah, that's
Player.
my thought.
Player
on
to be
that.
named later. What do you got?
Gin is expensive. So wouldn't it make more sense to sit your daughter down and say, hey, don't drink my fucking gin, and lock your gin up so that your daughter doesn't have access to your gin? Even though you're not giving up your right to gin, you're just taking preemptive measures to secure your gin from somebody who shouldn't have gin from obtaining your gin. If you own a firearm and a minor gets a hold of your firearm, you as a firearm owner are at fault for the minor in getting the firearm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not 1 million, 10 million, 100 million other firearm owners. You are responsible for that. Your daughter is responsible.
So what you're
for
saying?
drinking
So
gin.
what? So
for
what?
breaking the rules, knowing that she was doing wrong, she still got gin. So taking away your own gin isn't, you like the guy said, isn't going to get.
But he made it harder.
This is stupid.
But I know it's hard to wrap your brain around it, is it?
Your firearms and putting them into. Okay, first of all, there's a whole list of shit that goes on when you turn in your firearms to police departments. Either it's destroyed, or sometimes it ends up in a crate getting pushed off and off of a train car.
Or
in
it just
Chicago.
gets stuck in a big storage warehouse like
or
they
it
have
just
in
gets
APD.
stuck in a big storage warehouse, being taken by people that feel like they're
That
not going to get
disappeared.
caught
Yeah.
from stealing guns from the storage warehouse and selling it to cartels.
Well, or it ends at cheap distributors and they end up selling it. I bought a Raven, which had evidence.
A lot
things on it.
For auction. A lot of them end
Yeah,
up going for auction,
and people make money off your gin.
Yeah. So all I'm hearing is he wants his daughter to go and steal gin and now become a criminal because now she's a.
I'll give you my answer when I hear you guys. But
And
go
on
ahead,
top
Chuck.
of that, and the fact that she
go ahead.
drinks gin probably means she's a horrible person.
She should be drinking Rumple.
Yeah, like if you're like 14 and you're drinking gin and
She's on her
tonics,
way to a poll.
Yeah, you're probably already smoking Virginia Slims and like sitting here complaining about like
On your third abortion.
Age 14. Oh.
Heading to the poll.
yeah, no, gin is
Mike, great job.
terrible,
Jesus.
terrible.
Chuck.
So that's what she needs.
to put your foot in your mouth.
No, I didn't. I thought it was funny. It was
Well,
a
you're
joke. It
telling
was
the
a
poor
joke.
lady, well, she's gonna have 3 abortions.
It was a joke, Joe. Try to keep up, buddy. Chuck, you're. Hold on.
The old man from-
Joe, be quiet. Be quiet. Chuck, go ahead.
Is an abortion.
All right, I'll be quiet. Bye-bye.
Oh, come on.
Oh, he can't interrupt and yell, so he hangs up. Chuck, your thoughts.
He's got Casuela.
Yes.
Is Chuck still with us?
I think Chuck left.
Oh, I think Chuck left too. West Coast.
I cannot comment on this subject because I just snorted some catnip.
Hey, something. Point a note here, real quick, to our producer. We need to get pictures of the people on the phone.
Yeah, so we can
And,
pull their picture up.
You know,
when we're
on the
doing
phone
it.
and just throw it up there. Yeah. Anyway.
Then we'll have Dan when the show is done. Just email the.
He's got a Facebook page.
Oh yeah, I am friends with him on Facebook. All right, I'm gonna steal something from your Facebook, Dan. Don't worry.
All right. I mean,
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's
It should be out of here.
generalizing hundreds of like 100 million gun owners for the actions of one person
Yeah.
or multiple individuals.
Or doing something individually. Yeah.
Well, I think also it's a disconnect of parenting because think
Yeah.
about it. You're teaching your kid not to take your car keys and joyride. You're teaching your kid not to stick a fork in the electrical outlet. So why can't you teach the kid to not touch the alcohol or touch your firearms? If you see it, call an adult, don't touch it, and it should be the parents' responsibility to lock it up, or they only have the access to it. But also educate it what it is and how it could be dangerous, and not to screw around with it. It's not a toy. I think that's the disconnect where he says, "Oh, I have to take the gin out of the house." It's like, well, do you have your car keys in someone else's house, and do you not have any electrical outlets or anything like that? I think it goes along the line. It's like, okay, you're teaching your kid not to steal your car or stick a fork in an outlet. Teach them not to steal your gin or touch your firearms.
I feel like the whole gin thing is a real it's just a false equivalence. It's
Well,
it's not that simple. It's
I
just really not
I
that
see
simple.
the point he was trying to make.
Yeah,
and you're right.
it's-
It's not that simple. It's not that simple at all.
Well, the other thing too is
We're
that
not responsible for, as gun owners, we're not responsible for the actions of other gun owners, whether they be of legal age or of legally able to obtain them. Like, we're individually not responsible for other individuals. Like, that's what it comes down to.
And one more thing with the gin, that his argument is he is voluntarily removing the gin from his own house versus the way he phrased it. He's not saying I'm going to force everyone to remove gin from their house, that he's just voluntarily removing the gin from his own house. Well, that's his own prerogative. Is if he's not forcing us to use his own prerogative,
Yeah.
so be it, you know.
So what does that say about his neighbor's gin? That's my thing. So if you're like, guy's daughter, you're just gonna go get gin somewhere else. I mean,
Right.
maybe you should be a better parent.
So here was his post, and here's my answer. His post was, let's say my wife and I love to share a martini with each other after dinner. Our daughter begins to sneak into the gin stash and gets, for lack of a better term, hooked. Though I relish the time spent with my wife and the martini we share, I remove the gin from our household. Granted, my daughter can try to find the gin elsewhere, yet I'm making it tougher to obtain. Crude analogy, yet I think it fits in relations to guns. Here is my answer, once I scroll down here and find it. First I said, Jason Hinton, I'm sorry. I said, that's the dumbest analogy ever. Removing it doesn't fix the problem. If you want to remove your gin, fine. Leave my gin alone.
Yes.
And so once I got down by it, here's my answer. I apologize that I'm not on your schedule because you made a comment about why I'm not answering back, because when you don't answer back right away, they're like, oh, we got you. No, I'm shopping. You stated that your daughter got into your gin, which you and your wife enjoy. Would you stop sucking that goddamn thing in the microphone?
Please continue.
Holy cow.
Here,
Let me start over again.
let me mute myself.
Yes, please. I mean, you stick it right on next to the microphone. Good Lord. You stated that your daughter got your gin, which you and your wife enjoy. Your answer is to remove the gin while readily admitting that your daughter can get the gin elsewhere, but you've made it harder. But hold on. I can't type and laugh at the same time. Okay, let's say you do all that, and your daughter goes to your neighbor's house and gets a hold of some of his gin. Since you didn't educate her on how drinking gin is bad at her age, nor did you educate her about alcohol, she gets tight there. Now you have a choice. You can cover up your own lack of parenting skills by selfishly proclaiming that at least she didn't get the gin at your house, or you can now make the point that only reason she got a hold of the gin was that her neighbor had some. In keeping with your logic, now you would want the neighbor to go get rid of his gin too. And to make sure, you want everyone who likes gin to give up theirs, so even the very slim chance that your daughter goes to their house, she can't get their gin either. And it's all but avoided if you just realize that it was never about the gin. It's about lack of education. It's about demonizing gin owners so you feel safe instead of fixing your daughter. Is that clear enough for you?
What about the vermouth?
That's true. We didn't even think about the assault vermouth.
And what about the accessory of tonic?
Oh, and a 30-ounce tonic?
And olives?
Those 30-ounce tonics, man. We have to ban the 30-ounce tonics.
Got to get rid
No
of
one
those
should have any
six-packs of
more than
tonic.
10 ounces of tonic.
I mean, I like the quinine and tonic. It really helps for my malaria. And it also glows.
Glows. Yeah, it does, actually.
Yeah, and it's actually
pretty cool.
It can help with radiation in small doses. Tonic? Yes. As well as some alcohols.
So was my response?
Yes.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, no, it's
That makes sense?
It's never about
Makes
the
perfect sense.
quote unquote gin.
He needs to learn to lock up his liquor cabinet,
And probably be a better parent.
Oh, and here's his responses. I said, is that clear enough for you? I thought that was pretty clear. He says, actually, no, you still haven't made anything clear. You're not, because if they don't agree with you, they just act like
they discredit.
whatever you said doesn't make any sense.
the white.
You're not
Claw
going to
epidemic.
control how one parent said children. It's not isolated, it's an epidemic, which is
It's not.
There's a
fatal
white claw
to
epidemic.
0.0003% of the population. We are not all of a sudden going to move backwards. We have to evolve, period. And during that evolution, laws that applied years ago do not apply to today's society. This is all bullshit. You can preach all you want about how one is raised or how they've been educated. That argument just doesn't cut it any longer and is a moot point. Yeah, because you guys are shitty parents. You've accepted the fact that you don't want to take responsibility for your child's actions. Your child gets in trouble at school. Your knee-jerk reaction is to go to the school and go off on the teachers. It's not to maybe go in there with your child and find out if there's an actual problem and be a frickin' parent.
I'm gonna have to use a quote here from Futurama.
The bottom line is, you not owning an AR-15 isn't the end of the world. Drop the macho act. It's ugly. So demonize your opponent, make 0 points, and then say, well, you're not a real man if you own one, so why do you own one? To get you over to their side emotionally, with no fact or logic.
It's completely illogical.
Why do all like
Because the most
anti-gunners
man-
and, like think that only men or even only white men own guns? I know, multiple people of gender and race and racial creed that own guns and that are
You go to
pro-gun
South
because-
Texas, guess who owns guns? All the Mexicans.
Well, South Texans.
Or South Texas of Hispanic descent.
It's some of the best competition.
Whose relatives just happen to be on this side. You know what I'm saying? But, Hispanics, Mexicans.
And some of the best competition shooters are women. So.
Oh, safety.
And there's even a couple of transgenders. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, there's more than a couple. There's scores of people. They make up a small. They're a minority group of gun owners, but like you can't look at those people and tell them that their government is going to protect them. You can't tell the minority group of gun owners that like, no, it's fine. Just give up. The government's going to be. It's going to be cool. Everything's going to be cherry pie. Don't worry about it. Like we all got this. It's free love, baby. No, it's not. It's not. It's all going to go to shit. And you're going to be sitting back and like thinking to yourself, how the hell did we get here? Like, what did we do wrong? It's like you chose not to take responsibility. You put responsibility into the hands of an elite few who ultimately don't give a shit about you. Like, I mean, they say that they do, and it's empty promises, but it's manufacturing fear and then manufacturing false promises.
Fear-mongering.
Like, I was on Reddit, and they had said that the majority of, like, 3 out of the 5 prominent, like, anti-gunners have dropped out of the presidential race, and then the other 2 are polling less than 1%. Like, they're not going to win. This is their like last straw. They're grasping at straws to stay relevant.
They're trying to get the emotional base.
Yeah, exactly. And it sucks because like I said last week, nobody in this room, we're all gun owners. None of us have done anything wrong. We've not broken the law. We have no intentions to break the law. So why should us 5 be persecuted under those laws and we have no intentions of doing anything wrong? I mean, the people that have intentions to do something wrong aren't going to give a shit about your gun laws. They're going to break the law and just do it anyway. Like, it's not.
Yeah, it's like you said with like intentions. It's if like I own a couple firearms. My intentions with those firearms are to go out, shoot some paper, maybe go hunting, be shown how to go hunting and stuff like that. An AR-15 and an AK-47 is only as dangerous as the intentions of the person who bought it or stole it or whichever.
I use the analogy of the Corvette. Most Corvette owners don't drive like assholes. In fact, most drive slower than grandmas because they're afraid of getting their paint scratched. It's not the Corvette that wraps itself around the tree. It's the driver that drives it recklessly. Same thing with the firearms owner that owns it recklessly. Most firearms owners are the most responsible people you can find.
No,
last
week that Davis
uses
this
bullshit.
Because Davis doesn't want to buffer his mic.
Let's see. Where are we at? Traffic fatalities, 40,000 a year. 40,000 traffic fatalities a year.
Yep.
Why haven't we made it where people can't drive more than 50 miles an hour? Why haven't we gotten rid of big trucks unless you need it for farming?
Well,
or
here's the thing.
For hauling for commercial use or whatever.
Or we could make it illegal for people to drive without licenses or insurance, and only licensed drivers will drive.
We should make it illegal to go faster than a certain set speed, so that way if you T-bone somebody, they don't die in oblivion.
Yes, and we should even put more controls, like at places where all cars come together, so that like one side can go at one time, and then the other side, and no one would ever go when it's not their turn and cause an accident. If we did that,
we should get stop signs. Definitely stop signs. Sidewalks for pedestrians so they don't get hit by cars.
Yeah, exactly. And that way pedestrians will never have to walk in the street because there'll be sidewalks for them to walk on. And of course, there'll be controlled intersections that have lights that tell the pedestrians when they can safely proceed into the street, and they would never walk into the street.
And then we're gonna have law enforcement constantly patrolling.
We are changing the world here, my friend.
Yeah. Then we're gonna have law enforcement constantly patrol to make sure all these laws are enforced constantly.
Yes, constantly, and nobody would ever break a law again.
Turn signals. We need
so like
turn
you had said last week,
and brake lights.
Laws don't prevent people from breaking the law. it's a system in place so that these people can be punished when they break the law. And we already have that system in place. Like, I don't understand why.
Yeah. It's already against the law to kill somebody.
Yeah.
The method doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
especially when that method accounts for less than 0.0003% of the fatalities. You know what the biggest killer is?
What?
Heart disease?
Congestive heart failure.
We'll get rid of McDonald's then.
That's why I went from 410 pounds down to 282 right before the show. I weighed in 282 to 250. I got 30 more pounds to hit my goal.
Nice.
Because I was on that. I was not looking good. I mean, you go back to the other pictures of me around when I went to Mexico with your grandparents. I was not in good shape, man. I was not on the right path. But now, but see, that's a personal choice. That kills, what, 1.2 million people a year?
Choice, not chance.
Or whatever, yeah. But it kills millions of people a year. Misdiagnosis from doctors. Hundreds of thousands die from that. Swimming pools kill more people than guns. And let's go ahead and touch on this subject. I don't care who you feel about it. I don't care what the law is. The bottom line is abortion kills a human life. There have been more children killed.
Millions
of kids. But we're focusing on a gun. Then we're focusing on a type of gun that is used in less than 2% of the crimes. Less than 2%. Number one firearm used? Pistol. And now they're using revolvers because it doesn't leave the shell casings. I'm sorry, did I just give a big tip to all the criminals out there?
Whoops.
Oops.
Because they don't eject the shells?
Yeah, I know.
We got that.
And the thing about AR-15, well, it's like, as I brought up on the show,
I'm sure they could figure that out.
And as I brought up on the show last week, the difference between AR-15 and the Mini 14 is purely cosmetic. Shoots the same bullets, shoots the exact same way.
Yep. Or the Remington 270 semi-auto hunting rifle, same 223.
One's got black plastic and a pistol grip, and one's got a wood stock and doesn't have a pistol grip.
And guys, politicians, if you're listening to this, which I'm sure you're not, but if you are listening to this, there's no such thing as a high-velocity, high-impact round. Those are made up words.
I hear that.
Those are made-up words. There's different types of projectiles. You can get soft lead. You can get fully jacketed.
I don't know, man. Have you heard of the Alexander Arms 50 caliber Beowulf?
Well, that thing's badass.
Oh, yeah.
But
the round's
it
not
hasn't been
any
used, and it's extremely expensive to shoot. So,
but the 50
$20
caliber
bucks
round,
a round, something like that.
Yeah, but the 50 caliber round's the same price that you shoot if you owned a Ma Deuce.
Actually, there's the
no,
lamest.
It's a different type of. It's not a 50 cal BMG. It's like a gigantic slug.
There's a really lame 50 cal that's based off a modified 45 ACP case.
Yeah, it's a Desert Eagle.
No, not Desert Eagle. This is a Glock modification where you modify a 45.
To a 50 cal?
Yes, but it's
must have.
No, it's a terrible round because it uses a 45 ACP casing, so the muzzle velocity is even less. So.
Can you outrun it?
No.
It's fast enough.
I think it's 50.
That's why I used to get into this. You know, I got in a long debate with a guy about 9mm. So but it's a faster round. Like. For 45, it's bigger and heavier. And, yeah, but it's a slow round. So can you outrun it? No, it's fast enough. It's not. The wind ain't gonna take it either. 'Cause that's a big chunk of metal.
50 GI is what it is.
Well, then
it's
with all their talk about like the AR-15 and like how it like shreds you and stuff like that. Why aren't they pushing for like AR-10s, 30-06? I mean, that's a much bigger bullet. You can do a lot more damage.
Well, here's a little secret about how the AR-15 was designed by Eugene Stoner. It was meant for the Air Force to patrol their bases, and so it was meant to wound, not kill. And then the Army figured out after they were having issues with the M14 that wounding people on the battlefield in Vietnam would cause more damage to the enemy than killing them because they're trying to take their wounded combatants away, and so that means they're in the line of fire. So that's the military tactical reason why the AR-15.
That's awful. That's an awful point to make.
Yeah, it's just a horrible point to
Well,
make.
that's why the M16 was adopted by the military. So.
No, actually, it wasn't. I'm going to have to argue with this one. That might be something you read, and that might be a theory. But the reason why the Army went to the AR-15 is because they were humping around in Vietnam, which is notoriously hot and notoriously humid. And the M14 rifle, which was the standard rifle of the time, was extremely heavy. And so was the 30 caliber rounds that you had to lunk around, even though it was a much better rifle, and it was a better round for combat and everything else.
It just wasn't very combat efficient in the jungle.
It was heavy.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean.
So they came out with the M16, and the M16 shot the 5.56 round, which could be standard. And not everybody in NATO was like America, and they wanted to make a standard round that could be carried, manufactured cheaply, and carried en masse, so you'd have more bullets. So they made the NATO 5.56, which is the civilian .223, and then they came out with the M16, which the Army soldiers and Marines that used it lovingly called it death by Mattel because it would jam. So they put a forward assist in it. You had to constantly clean it. And I even found this when I was in the desert, in Desert Storm with the A2. I had to clean that thing every day just to make sure that the bolt would go back. I mean, you couldn't put, especially in a desert environment with the dust, you couldn't leave it dry because it would get jammed up. So, but the bullets, the reason why the bullets, and they call it a tumbling bullet, and there's lots of theories, and the bullet is a small 22 caliber diameter bullet that has a high muzzle velocity. And because it's so light, if it hits anything, a leaf, a beef fart, anything, it can throw it off unless it's got a straight line shot to whatever it's shooting at. So it wasn't very effective in shooting into brush and all that kind of stuff because it didn't have enough weight to push through it. And when it hits the human body, the bullet that the military uses that they don't sell to civilians for hunting, which is it's called a full metal jacket, would go in, and it's so light when it hit a rib or hit a bone, then it would tumble around inside and end up in some, just like a 22 caliber bullet would out of a 22 long rifle.
Yeah.
No one's banning the 22 long rifle, and the only thing different about a 223 and a 22 long rifle is the 223 is probably going to get there a little quicker and go farther.
And they actually do make drop-in conversion barrels where you can actually shoot 22 LR out of your AR-15.
Yeah, well, yeah. You can shoot anything, 9mm, 45. You can do anything. But anyway,
well, if it's with a standard 5.56 barrel.
So the point I was trying to make in this whole thing is that the civilian ammunition that we buy, the 223 ammunition, is great for hogs. It'll take down a deer.
Yeah.
Oh, I have cool stuff actually.
Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, I think typically when we've gone hog hunting, we took the PCR and the fowls out just because.
Yeah, because it's a bigger bullet.
And it's a battle rifle.
That's great for going range and shooting paper.
I mean it's good. It's good.
I mean, a gun is a gun.
It's a cheap. Yeah. It's cheap round, so it's good to get out and get acclimated with it, and if you're gonna own it, own it.
I'd say I like to use my 69 and 77 grain SMKs. Those usually do pretty good.
Yeah.
At increasing grain rate with my SMKs. It's really fun.
But here's the thing: a gun is a gun. Whether it's an AR-15, whether it's an SKS, whether it's an AK-47, High Point, which is the biggest garbage gun ever made.
You don't own a High Point, don't even talk.
You're not even gangster. You're not even gangster, man, if you don't own a High Point. But anyway, the point is this, and just like I made the comment earlier about a bullet velocity, can you outrun it? Nope. Well, it's fast enough. A gun is a gun. It's a cylindrical steel tube meant to direct a projectile down that straight tube after being propelled by a burning propellant. That's it. That's all the gun is. Everything else is cosmetics. Everything else. Whether it's bolt action, semi-automatic, lever action, pump action, it doesn't matter. It's a straight metal tube that directs a projectile. That's it. Banning one because of the way it looks and assigning it a title does not change the fact that the gun right next to it that shoots the exact same round but doesn't look scary that I can own because it's a hunting rifle is the same thing. Yeah. Except for the aesthetics. It's like all of us. All of us are the same. Black, white, Asian. Everybody on the inside looks exactly the same, and we're all of the human race. Same thing with a gun.
Except
and a 22 semi-automatic pistol or even 22 revolver pistol will kill you just as dead as a 50 caliber Desert Eagle. And taking one away or banning one isn't going to stop people from killing each other. It's not the gin. It's the fact that you didn't teach your daughter.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
I mean, I have proof of good parenting sitting in this room tonight, and who I'm very proud of.
I know. Thank you. And
the player to be named later was raised in a house with guns, and I put a gun in his shoulder when he was 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, shotgun, held it, and he got to shoot it, and then and the rule was if you want to look at any guns, just ask me, and I'll go get them. I'll make sure they're clear, and you can sit down and clean them, or we'll go shoot them. And he turned out fine. He didn't drink my gin until it was time that we drank gin together.
Yeah.
We're talking about a whole generation.
I never stole alcohol from you.
That if they saw the cartoons we grew up, they see the cartoons we grew up with, they would be triggered by it.
Absolutely.
Elmer Fudd, Tom and Jerry.
I mean, there's one of Bugs Bunny where he's trying to play the piano and somebody keeps coughing in the audience, and he pulls out a fucking revolver and shoots him and kills him.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they'd bring that shit back just so we could see people get upset by it, because it would be hilarious.
Well, all that stuff's taken. You can't find any of it. You can't find any of that stuff we grew up on.
Packed the gun.
Do you know if you get a copy of Dumbo from the 40s when they made Dumbo, the cartoon?
They took the crows out.
They took the crows out.
Which is a huge plot point because that's where he learns how to fly.
Yeah. They took the crows out. That whole song.
Yeah, because
I seen a horse fly. I've seen a dragon fly, but I have not seen an
and
elephant
I've
fly.
never seen an elephant fly. Yeah, that's a great song. And who is the guy who sung that? Who's the performer?
Is that Louis Armstrong?
Louis Armstrong.
Yeah.
And they took his whole thing out of there because people get upset about it.
There was actually 2 scenes. That big plot point, that was the big act break, which he learns how to fly, and then at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Mike, did you see the video? I forget the company that made it, the back to school video. That's basically just a school shooting.
Yes, it was every town, or
it's back to school season, and you know what that means.
Yeah.
I mean,
I honestly didn't. I got like halfway through that video until I realized that it wasn't the Onion that made it. I was like, somebody thought this was real.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah, because it initially came
across my newsfeed.
It came across, I hate to say it like this, almost like satire. I go, wait, they're actually being serious about that's my response.
Why don't we ever just talk about why don't we ever find out why they didn't? Like, we found out why Dylan Ruth did it, right? Because he's a white supremacist and he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Right? We found out why the Christian or the church shooting down in South Texas. We found out why he did it, and it's all very tragic. And it's Kumo actually told Beto that like nobody is disagreeing with you that this is tragic and that it's it's terrible. It's horrible things are happening. But what Kumo told him is like told Beto is that it's not legal. There's no way that you're going to be able to do this. And he's like, well, we'll make the law to do it. He's like, but I mean, how are you going to do it? He's like, we'll just make it happen.
That's another thing too.
What does make it happen mean? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, what is your end game here? Because there's over 1 million people at least that have already decided what the end game would be if
he decided to pursue that.
Well, why aren't we going after the pharmaceuticals? Because a lot of these mass shooters, they were on SSRIs, and I think that has more to do with it than
Exactly.
That's what's actually setting these people off. It's making them mentally
They would have
unhinged.
just smoked a joint. They'd have been okay, man. They'd be like,
Hey, let's go.
they would
let's
have been
go- let's go
motivated.
to-
They
go
would
to
have been
Jack in the
motivated
Box.
to leave the house.
They were motivated to go to get Jack in the Box and order 100 tacos. That's
The
what
Ohio shooter actually had like marijuana in his system, but not
along with
that's
the
the reason why he did it.
along
but-
with the psychotropic drugs.
Yeah. He was like mad at his sister and her boyfriend or some shit. I don't know. These people weren't.
They're not right.
They're not right.
Well, here's the thing: taking my guns isn't going to stop
It's
those
not gonna.
guys.
It's not gonna stop. That's what I was
It's just
saying
it's
earlier.
a feel-good thing.
The
is all
people
it
that
is.
have intentions to commit these
feel-good thing.
these mass shootings, already have their guns. So banning them and banning the sale of them, or even extending background checks, won't prevent another one from happening. It'll prevent less. But you know what will also prevent mass shootings from happening? Telling the general public, like, look, shit's mad, fucked up right now. All right? There's people out there that are crazy, and it's a crazy world that we live in. But this has been going on throughout all of human history. This is the new bombings.
This isn't new.
This is the
It's
new
just
serial
being-
killer.
Yeah.
This is something that is being projected and promoted on a 24-hour news cycle that is just like the hit piece of every single time. It's
If
like
it
they
bleeds, it leads.
break it down like
You're
it's
encouraging
Sports
these
Center.
people.
Yeah.
And you're encouraging these people. And people are now, these people that have done it, I guess the El Paso shooter and then the New Zealand shooter, they were accelerationists. They were like, they wanted this to happen. They want us to have this discord. They want us to see us have these arguments and these heated, and
They wanted to start a war.
intensify. They want to
Yeah.
start a war.
They're trying to
and
start
they're
a
giving
civil
them
war.
what they want.
Yeah. And the fact is that a lot of the people that are quote unquote gun rights enthusiasts are playing into their rhetoric, saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, we want a civil war, this, that, and the other." And the fact is that putting out that video, getting back to that bizarre, it came across as a satire originally. You're just encouraging people to do that because you're looking at this going like, I don't know what to think. If they were being serious, I'm like, is this supposed to be something from Saturday Night Live? I mean, that's what it came across initially. I'm going like, you got to be kidding me. This is what they put out?
I just think it's funny, though, because they're always, this is kind of back to the Beto thing. They're like, oh, yeah, well, we're just going to make it happen. It's like the last time I saw the federal government armed and pointing guns at a bunch of angry civilians was, like, Bundy Ranch. And then the federal judge was like, yeah, BLM fucked up.
Yeah.
That was our bad, and we're going to make this disappear.
Yeah. And guess who it was aiming back?
Yeah. And
citizens.
Those are the same angry group of people that is now all over the U.S., and you're going to be like, well, now we're going to take that away. And they're going to be like...
Yeah, and Beto saying that you've talked to AR-15 owners and they 100% agree with you. You didn't talk to me.
No. Yeah. No,
you didn't talk to anybody that I know, and you didn't talk to anybody that don't want any of the Facebook groups I'm in, and you didn't talk to anybody I know that's blowing you up on Twitter.
Well, the reason being is everybody told him, yeah, come and take it.
Oh, is that it? He misread it.
I'm assuming so, yeah.
Oh, he's like, they want me to come take it.
Yeah, and I mean, what's going to happen is like...
I get it.
Dopey ass would get
Oh, my God.
He's like, oh, okay. No, I guarantee it. Like, the first thing, like, if somebody's going to, like, sit there and be like, hey, like, we're going to take your stuff, and be like, no, you. I'd be like, you give me your stuff. And they're going to be like, well, no, I'm supposed to. I'm like, well, same here. So I'm going to close the door, and I'm going to go back to watching TV and not wearing pants. And then if they knock again on the door, I'm going to answer without wearing pants. And that should scare them away.
That should.
Well, the fact is that everyone they take a headline and they just completely misinterpret what it is. The whole thing with Colt suspending production of their civilian AR-15s, they have warehouses full of them because people that know anything about AR-15s know that Colts are crap nowadays.
Yeah. So they stop production because they're not selling them.
Yeah,
not
people
because
are buying
they're not,
Smith & Wessons or Daniel Defense or other brands because they're better and they're cheaper.
Yeah,
That's what half of the
supply and
comments
demand.
were about.
I mean, it's because,
that is because
I don't think
Colt
people
ARs
realize,
are absolute garbage town.
They make good products, but the problem is they're
They're
not as good as they used to be. Number one, number two, the company has almost gone bankrupt in like the last couple of years.
Yeah, they did go
I think
bankrupt.
they filed Chapter 11 a couple years back. They're still trying to find another reason to float. The only reason why they quit production for the civilian market, literally to try to get military contracts that they're not going to get back because they all went to FN. Colt really screwed the pooch on themselves because they were like, oh, we're going to sell a product that's pretty much the same as everybody else's, but charge $1,200 for
Because we're Colt.
because we can.
And it's actually
It's kind of like buying a Kawasaki Nomad 1500, which is all with the saddlebags and the big front end, and I could buy one of those for $5,400, two 3-year-old motorcycle for $5,400, or I could go buy a 10-year-old Harley Davidson Road King for $16,000.
It's basically Colt in name only. The military company and the civilian
Springfield
company,
Arms.
they're two separate companies at this point. It's basically Colt in name only. It's like going to Best Buy and buying a TV that has the name Westinghouse on it. It's not Westinghouse of the old days, like you just said, Mike. That built the thing. It's somebody bought the naming rights and they're just slapping the name on a cheap piece of crap. So
Also, if you don't have like a Colt Defense Marked AR, you're poor. Get out of here.
Colt did stupid things, like they never made a semi-automatic pistol that was not the 1911, and they discontinued
the Colt Woodsman.
All right, final thoughts, Leland.
Davis.
I think. I'm trying to think how to wrap this up.
Okay, you keep thinking. Danger.
Yeah, there are things that we can go about doing to limit this without taking firearms out of like my hands, your hands. Like, do we really need 100-round magazines? Yeah, they're cool. You're gonna waste a shit ton of money on ammo to go and use them. Like private sales, stuff like that, maybe not the best idea. But taking like my AR-15 away from me because some Joe Schmuck down the road decided to go like shoot up his friends and stuff like that, all you're doing is preventing me from being able to defend myself. We've had over 300 mass shootings this year alone, yet we've had 4 times as many home invasions. So if a mass shooting is an epidemic, what are the home invasions then if they're 4 times more? There's ways to go about making it better. You're not going to make a perfect world. You never will. And that's what I think some of these people think that they're going to be able to do by taking all of our firearms away, which...
All right, back to Leland.
I think we need to get back to civil discourse. It's not the specific type of firearms. The AK-47 was invented in 1947. The AR-15, well, the AR, Stoner developed the AR platform in the 1950s. We didn't have mass shootings in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. I think getting back to civil discourse where people just aren't afraid of everything, like we were talking about earlier, where people would be triggered by cartoons that were made in the 1930s and the 1960s with, cartoon, with, like you said, Bugs Bunny shooting the guy in the audience as a joke, or all the Elmer Fudd, or all the Yosemite Sam gun action, or just the violence of Tom and Jerry. We didn't have people going and hurting and killing each other until this is a very recent phenomenon, and we need to figure out what is causing this. But I can tell you what's not. It's not the firearms. It's not the specific model firearms.
Alex.
I don't think it's ethical to hold, like I said, hundreds of millions of gun owners to answer for or be responsible for the actions of an individual. I think that if you're going to, there is a problem. There's a serious issue, but it's not people's access to firearms. It's just a broken system. It's a broken education system. It's a broken, our teachers in our schools are overwhelmed and underpaid and under-resourced. They don't, they're just popping pills and cashing checks and just saying, all right, get through. I mean, I'm not saying that there's teachers out there that don't love their students or love their job, but overall, as a broad term, whatever, a kid acts up or he's having issues, they just give him some Ritalin or Adderall or, something and hope that he shuts up and stops being a disruption and keeps on moving. And, like I said, I don't think that in access to firearms is an issue. I don't think it's an epidemic. By definition, it's not an epidemic.
But it's not even close to an epidemic.
Yeah,
Mad Mike.
What?
Final thoughts.
I already told you, man. Who are you? The cops, go away.
All right, great discussion. Of course, it's not all going to be solved here tonight, but if I could say anything, it's not the gun. It's the oversimplification of a solution, mostly driven by sticking it to a perceived ideology. You have been taught, you have been told that only Republicans love guns, and that Democrats, if you're a Democrat, you can't love guns. So it's more about an ideology. So you want to stick it to the opposite ideology. Because if you think about it logically, what you have is an ideology of the left, which is anti-gun, that spends an enormous amount of time pointing out that Trump is a racist, that he's a Nazi, that the government is fascist, to the point where there are kids dressing up in cosplay and going to disrupt stuff called Antifa, anti-fascist, even though there's no fascists in America. And there's no real Nazis either. So you got anti-fascists railing against the government. And then you've got the black community that says that believes that cops are trained to gun down black people, and that the system is systematically racist, targeting them and giving them more time in jail, and basically. But then, on the same breath, because of an ideology difference, and because the perception that most gun owners are white, that's how you feel you can hurt us, is take our firearms. When really, you're just hurting yourself. It's not the gun. It's the people. It's the propaganda. Think logically about it. Don't get rid of your gin. Teach your daughter respect. And hey, until she's old enough to drink on her own, maybe have a few with her. Anyway, that's all for me. If you would like to become an OTA insider, send me an email at mikeallensports@gmail.com or tweet me at mikeallen_OTA, hashtag that bad boy, Radio Man Cave. We're here every Monday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. I'm Mike Allen. This is the Radio Man Cave, and you have been on the air. See you next week.
Yes, we're again.
Great job, team. Head back to base for debriefing and cocktails.